This is an eggplant, also known as an aubergine in British English, but why in the world is it called an eggplant? It looks nothing like an egg at all. The word eggplant, by the way, is the correct translation of its original etymology. The word aubergine is a loan word, taken directly from French and repronounced by its borrowing language of English. Aubergine has come from many different languages, but all of them originate from the Sanskrit word vatigam gamma, which literally translates to eggplant. And the reason it was ever called eggplant before was because long ago it did indeed look like an egg. It was white, sometimes a soft yellow, with a much rounder, smaller shape. Here's a picture for reference. There are actually a lot of plants out there that, if you travelled back to the distant past, would be unrecognisable to our ancestors. For example, carrots weren't always orange, they were white. Watermelons weren't always as red, peaches were the sizes of cherries, and bananas had giant seeds in them. The reason they look so different today is thanks to centuries of selective breeding, which is kind of just a nicer way of saying incest. If we want to create a population of organisms all with similar characteristics, we tend to inbreed them. Siblings are bred with siblings or organisms found in their family tree. This generally seems to reduce the unpredictable characteristics found in their offspring and leads to a general population of very genetically similar organisms. Labrador retrievers were originally established through generations of inbreeding. Same with Siamese cats. As much as you have a greater chance of passing on desirable traits, like the kind and gentle features of a golden retriever, look at it, you also have a higher chance of bringing non-desirable traits with you. The offspring have the same strengths, but also the same weaknesses. That makes the entire population more likely to be susceptible to one particular disease, leading to epidemics, or physical defects like with Dalmatian dogs, of which a high proportion of the breed are deaf. An organism's genes are made up of DNA, which in turn is made up of adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. Our DNA contains 3 billion different bases of these chemicals, but more than 99% of them are the same in every human being. But how big is that? 3 billion bases, I mean. What if we typed out your entire DNA sequence into a .txt file? How big would that be? On a computer, letters are denoted in binary zeros and ones. A string of 8 is called an octet or a byte. One letter equals 1 byte. We can just use A, C, G, and T to denote all of these different chemical bases. For example, A is denoted by 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. The rest I'll just put up on screen to save time. So we would have 3 billion bytes, which is about 2.79 gigabytes. That's a pretty big text file. But what if, instead of using binary numbers, we used hexadecimal numbers? Whereas using binary numbers in an octet, 8 ones and zeros, is called a byte, using hexadecimal digits to denote information is called a nibble because it's half as large. I'm not joking, that's a real thing. By using a 4-digit nibble, or what networkers call a semi-octet, a quad bit, or a quartet, we'd half the size of our TXT file, so instead it'd be 1.39 gigabytes. But we can make that even smaller. What if instead we assign the letters A, C, G, and T to 00, 01, 10, and 11 respectively? Then we're halving the size of the document again. So the smallest possible size that your DNA sequence would be if it was a text file is 715 megabytes. That's about the size of 5, now that's what I call music CDs. And the amount of data in your sequence that separates you from every other human on the planet would only be 7 megabytes. That's about as much as the song All Star by Smash Mouth. That's pretty small, but that's not even close to how small we are in comparison to the universe. An ant is about 1 millimeter across, pretty tiny. The average human being, on the other hand, stands at about 1.76 meters tall. The ant is 0.05% as big as you, but to the universe, well, it can't really tell the difference between you and the ant. Distance in space can be measured in parsecs, which is roughly 3.26 light years in length, or 30.9 trillion kilometers. The observable universe alone is estimated to be 14.26 gigaparsecs, or 44 septillion meters. In comparison to the universe, you are 56 million times more minuscule than an atom is to you. If the universe wanted to compare itself to you, it would have to go 27 decimal places to tell the difference between you and an ant. Those are some pretty serious measurements. So let's lighten the mood and look at some funny ones instead. In 1958, Oliver R. Smoot, who later became the chairman of the American National Standards Institute, became the first ever man-made measurement. His height, which at the time was 5'7", was used to measure the Harvard Bridge. It's 364.4 Smoots long. It's since been added to Google Earth, and now you can measure the distance from London to Paris in Smoots. A much smaller measurement is called the Mugasegle, which is set to the size of a housefly's scrotum. Now you might think that's pretty tiny, but the balls on that fly are enormous. The testicles of a fly make up 10% of its body weight. That's the same as a human male's scrotum, weighing as much as a Thanksgiving turkey. An even smaller measurement is the beard second, applicable in the extremely short distances of integrated circuits. It's the distance the average beard grows in a single second, which Google Calculator says is 5 nanometers. A jiffy is a unit of measurement used in computer operating systems. It measures the amount of time of a computer's internal clocks interrupts. A whiffle is a unit of measurement used by marine biologists as a size reference when photographing coral. If you're ever concerned about the amount of radioactivity in your neighborhood, you could always measure its banana equivalent dose, the amount of radiation exposure from eating a banana. When you have a CT scan, you're exposed to 70,000 banana equivalent doses of radiation. A pirate ninja is defined as 1 kilowatt hour per Martian day, about 40.55 watts. It was originally used by Andy Weir in his novel The Martian, the inspiration from the Curiosity rover team at JPL, who told him to use milli-pirate ninjas. A Helen comes from the Iliad and refers to Helen of Troy. It measures the amount of beauty required to launch a sailing ship. Since Helen was referred to as the face that launched 1,000 ships, 1 milli-Helen is how much beauty you would require to launch a single ship. You can also have negative Helen, which is the ability to beach a ship. Say what you will about these units of measurement, I think you are a mega Helen. I would send an armada for you. Thanks for watching.